Greta Thunberg gets into Twitter spat with German train company because the train was overcrowded. Well, here's the story. Greta Thunberg gets into Twitter spat with overcrowded German railway service, Deutsche Bahn, after she tweeted a photo of herself sitting on a carriage floor, but doesn't show she was moved to a first-class seat. I do not believe Greta Thunberg is genuine. I believe she is just a naive kid. Her mom apparently is a famous activist. She's being propped up as a symbol. And I think what we're seeing here is someone wielding their newfound power. Let me explain something to you first. Here's the tweet. She said she's sitting on the floor on a bag or something, overcrowded trains. Oof, looks so terrible. Must be really bad press for the German train company. You see, people with large followings or a decent amount of followers on Twitter know that if you tweet something, first, let me stop. If I tweeted, this train is terrible, I demand an upgrade at Deutsche Bahn, people would be like, dude, you're a jerk. What are you doing? Like, that's so snooty and narcissistic of you to think that you can just wield that power that way. Yeah, not cool. I've done a few things sometimes where I've tweeted at American Airlines or something because I understand it works, and it does, and I'll explain. I think what we're seeing here is Greta being upset that they're sitting in the nosebleeds versions of a train, like they're in the crappy section. So she complains on Twitter, gets an upgrade to first class. That's what happened. Now, apparently after tweeting this, they said, "Dear Greta, thank you for supporting us railroad workers in the fight against climate change. We were pleased that you were on blah, 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 and you got upgraded to first class." This video, it's not about being on the train, but I will explain the social media stuff very quickly for you as we move on to what the video is really about. It's called the Greta Thunberg Challenge. It is a challenge I have for all of you. And yes, just wait. First, I was on a plane once. My flight. It was a connecting flight. I landed. Storm hits. Plane gets canceled. All of a sudden, there was like 500 people trying to get rebooked. That was tough. I tried calling a number. Didn't work. I tweeted at American Airlines. This was back when I had, I think, like 70,000 followers. I have like 400,000 now. American Airlines responded immediately, took care of everything because they're scared of bad press. And boy, do I have stories about people wielding their clout. Now, for me, I understand. There's a hard point between where it's like, if I don't catch this flight, I'm in serious trouble. You guys know I work every single day. So I tweeted, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, hey, my flight got delayed. I'm trying to connect. The lines are busy. What's going on? And they responded and they were like, we're going to send you a DM and a link. We'll take care of you. Other people were just waiting in line. That's social media privilege, baby, and I know it. But I wouldn't do something like this. If I had to sit and coach, I sit and coach and I go to sleep. For me, it's kind of like, you know what? I'll be self-critical about doing it. No problem. I understand it's entirely a privilege, but don't lie about it. Don't pretend that's not what you're doing, right? But let's get to the point. The Greta Thunberg challenge. First, the first part of the challenge. Don't tell people you will put them up against the wall. No, I'm kidding. This is not the part of the challenge, but I want to comment on this. I want to be fair to Greta. Here's what she said. Here's her quote. "We have to make sure they cannot do that. We will make sure that we put them against the wall and that they have to do their job and protect our futures." Do you know what it means to put someone against the wall in English? It's a reference to, putting someone against the wall and then aiming a weapon at them because you're sentencing them to no longer being alive. It's commonly used by far leftists. They say, I've had many Antifa people say, I'm first against the wall, we'll put you against the wall. That's what it means. It means they're going to have a revolution and you will be no longer alive. Get it? However, in Sweden, I reached out to a local journalist and I asked them, what does it mean? And he told me it's a very common phrase that means pushing them up against the wall. And it's like basically my understanding is when they don't do what you want to do, you hold them accountable by pushing them to the wall and scolding them. That's basically it. So I think it's fair to point out she did not realize what she was saying. English, second language. And that's important to be fair, okay? Because now we're going to play the Greta Thunberg Challenge, okay? And I'm going to tell you exactly how to play it. Maybe we'll come back to the story because they make fun of right-wingers or something. First, as many of you know, I worked for some of the largest nonprofits in the world. Not the highest levels, but some of them I was a director at some nonprofits, mostly just like a manager. And my job was field canvassing. So you ever see those people in the street? They're waving to you and they're like, do you have a minute to talk about climate change? And you say, and you put your headphones in and you ignore them and storm off. Most of you will probably have that experience because, 90% of people will ignore a street canvasser. Well, I tell you what, I was one of the nation's best. Kid you not. I was one of the top fundraisers, membership, sales, sign up, whatever you're going to call it. And we would stand out in the streets I did it in Chicago and Los Angeles. And I would wave to people and say, you got a minute? You want to talk? There's a bunch of techniques I know that they don't want people to do. First, all of these organizations, you'll notice they stand one person over, like there'll be one person here facing this way and one person here facing the other way. They give you a script. It is the worst thing in the world. The idea is they want to make sure that people who are not personable will be able to pitch their nonprofit. So they usually say the exact same things. It's like introduction, problem. They introduce themselves, they introduce the company, they offer you up a problem, then they offer you up a solution, and then they give you the chance to play into it. There's like a formula they have. It is awful. It is awful. Here's what I learned, and trust me, this is the Greta Thunberg challenge. I promise you. Ignore the script, stand there, wave to somebody, and reach out your hand for a handshake. Most people will shake your hand, and once you have their hand, you say, "Hi, my name is Tim. Now that I've captured you and you can't run away, we're going to save the environment." You in? You guys got to be fun and funny. That pitch that I just did, literally, I'd stand there and I'd have like a clipboard and I'd see somebody, I'd point, I'd put up my hand, and then some people would be like, "No, you're not going to get me." I'm like, "I'm getting you. And they would laugh. And then I'd be like, come here, shake their hand. And then I would just be real and be like, "Listen, man, here's the problem. You guys know what we're doing. You know what I'm here to ask you for. Are you going to pitch in? You don't have to, but we need you to." Right? It's got to be real. So I'll tell you what. The Greta Thunberg challenge. I want you to do this. Be safe, okay? I'm facetiously saying I want you to do this. I don't really want you to do this. I want to make sure that's clear. But the idea is, think about how Greta Thunberg has pitched environmentalism. Think about everything I just described to you about how to do a pitch. Now, imagine someone going outside and standing there holding a little clipbook, and somebody walks by and they say, smile on their face, a nice little wave, reach out, shake their hand and say, "How you doing? Hey man, come talk to me. I'm here. We're buddies. We're best friends now." And it's funny and you laugh and you teach them something. Try that. See how many people say stop to talk to you, because it won't be that many, but it will be enough. Okay? Now, to do the Greta Thunberg challenge, you simply must scowl and shout, "How dare you? You've stolen my childhood." Look all angry. When someone walks by you, start yelling at them. Yell at them, berate them, tell them it's their fault, demand privileges, and see how that goes. I actually think it would be a really good idea to do for myself as a man on the street. Maybe I'll do it for the Timcast IRL channel. But this is how I try to explain to people why you need to stop propping her up. Imagine someone on the street looking angry. Yeah. And when you walk past them, they go, "How dare you? How dare you? You are listening to an iPod. Do you have any idea your carbon emissions?" They're going to be like, "Get away from me, dude." Think about that behavior versus somebody smiling and being like, you're not, "I'm going to get you." And you're laughing and you're like, "Dude, I swear to you, don't you dare." And then they might laugh, tell you a joke, and at the very worst case scenario, talk to you for a few minutes and then say, "Have a good day." Think about how that will play out. And now think about what Greta Thunberg is doing. First, this tweet about being on the train, she later went on to say, "No, it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It means people are using trains. Traveling on overcrowded trains through Germany, and I'm finally on my way home." No, I think that was kind of, I want an upgrade. Look at this tweet. "I'm making you look bad." She comes out and says it wasn't. You know what? Let's do this. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt on this one. I'll say, you know what? Maybe it was just a silly little photo, and because they were sitting on the floor, she called it overcrowded to explain why they were doing it. Give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't think so, because I know a lot of people with followers, and I know exactly how they wield that power, but fine. No, I mean it. Let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Think about the picture of her seeing Donald Trump with that angry scowl on her face. Listen, when I go out in the street, I'm trying to pitch that Trump supporter. I'm trying to say, of all the people that I need to convince to give me money, it is you, Trump supporter. It is you. You know why? Because the liberals already do it. I don't gotta say, I see a liberal and I say, hey, you're a liberal, and they're like, yeah, and I'm like, environment, and they're like, yep, and I'm like, Greta Thunberg, and they're like, yep, and I'm like, great, give me a credit card. Just like that. Okay, not really, but you get the point. I see somebody who's very clearly a leftist, and all I gotta do is be like, hey, 1 second, sign up for the environment, and they'll go, okay. I don't gotta argue. But how do I convince that Trump supporter who's wearing that MAGA hat, walking on the street, works in a coal mine, and I'm gonna be like, yo, you know what I would say to a coal miner? If I stopped somebody and they were laughing like, bro, you don't get it, I'm a coal miner. I'll be like, right on. More power to you, buddy. Glad to hear you got a job and everything's going well for you. How about this? How about you take $15 per month to offset the carbon from the coal? I'm not saying coal is evil or wrong. Keep doing it, man. But how about you pitch in just a little bit, and that can go towards us fighting not to end your job, but to develop new technologies, and then maybe 10, 20, 30 years. Depends on the organization, I gotta be honest. Convincing a coal miner to give money to a company that's gonna advocate for the end of his job, not a good idea. You get the point though. I can tell somebody, I'm your friend, man. I'm trying to work things out with you. Let's be buddies. Versus Greta scowl in your face and shout, how dare you? How dare you stolen my childhood? Man, could you imagine? Let me put it this way. Let's say you're walking on the street in your hometown, and you see this young woman wearing like, $200 Supras or something. Those are shoes. Wearing like really nice clothes. I know she's not. I'm trying to give you an example of like how privileged she is. Traveling around the world on yachts, meeting with UN leaders, and then she's scowling at you, the poor person, who's trying to make ends meet, yelling at you, how dare you? Demanding that you make radical change, demanding that you give money when she's got everything handed to her on a silver platter. I'm going to leave it there so I don't rant too much on this, but I got one more segment coming up anyway. You get the point. The point is, the Greta Thunberg challenge is to try and convince people to support you when you scowl and insult them and say, how dare you? If you go outside, I tell you this, okay? Don't do anything crazy. Don't do any of this. Making that clear. But I assure you, if you were out on the street and you looked at someone in the eye and scowled and said, how dare you? They would turn tail and run. Turn tail and run. That's the easiest way to explain why she is a detriment to the environmental movement. Stick around. One more segment coming up in a few minutes. I will see you all shortly.